need to change my name of King of Technical Difficulties because, nigga, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. My settings right. Everything working fine. I literally did some tests throughout this week and everything working fine. As soon as I go live, man, you know, they press the button on me or something. I don't know, man. But I'll try one more time. If it act up again, man, we're just gonna have to figure it out another day, man. But we're gonna keep swimming. We're gonna just keep swimming. But y'all see the title. Was actually getting a little crunk and live. I had about 4 people pulling up in the chat, bro. Like, soon as this shit start bugging out, bro. Like, I listened back to the stream. About first 4 minutes worked fine. Then it just started doing that looping shit again. I don't understand. But enough of that, man. Y'all see the title. Y'all see the title. We back in the building. Is LeBron now the GOAT because he eclipsed 50K? And I get right into it, man. I asked that question on Twitter, and people was telling me it builds a good case. It adds to the legacy case. And I was like, I think it's just, you really can put him in the king of longevity, but I don't think that makes you the GOAT. I don't think that really dictates that you're the GOAT because, yes, you were able to play a long amount of time, but that's not necessarily contributing a certain amount of dominance. It's not contributing in a certain amount of rings. Like, at the end of the day, you got the GOAT that I think is Jordan at 6-6, and you're 4-10, and I mean you're 4-6. Excuse me, been in the finals 10 times with 6 losses. That's tough, and I think when you look at the Miami years, that's when you kind of get into where I think the case started to get closed that he's not that guy. And it sucks because it was, you know, early in his career. He's went on to do other great things, but it's tough to put a guy Jordan when you lost to like 2 teams on a super team, and they were some of the oldest teams in the league. Teams that Kobe and beat already. Teams that I'm trying to think. Jordan didn't really play Tim Duncan, but he played a couple of the guys that was on the Spurs. He played a couple of guys in their younger years or whatever. But for the most part, Kobe was able to handle the Mavs throughout his career, handle the Spurs from time to time. Obviously, the Spurs and them battle back and forth, but these teams aren't teams that were considered unbeatable. Like, when you talk about this Miami-Dallas conversation, like, most people went into this game thinking that it's going to be pretty even. Or not pretty even, but they gave the guys on Miami the favorite. Alright, so far we still rocking. I just want to check real quick, but we get into this Dallas Mavericks Heat series, and you come to see. Let's look at the attempts. D-Wade put in 108. James put in 90. Look at threes. Let's see what we 3-point attempts versus made. They was pretty even. Free throw attempts. D-Wade took 49 free throw attempts versus only LeBron taking 20. Team rebounds was pretty even throughout the team. LeBron led in assists. Steals was pretty even. D-Wade led in blocks. LeBron had 24 turnovers, extremely high compared to everybody else. And then we'll get the points per game. He was the 3rd leading scorer. And you got to imagine if he just gave his regular input, how much of a difference that would have been towards this series in the sense that y'all lost in 6, bro. You were on a super team and you lost in 6 games to a team that one of the older teams with 1 star. And if we go to look up these team stats, it's not like they just out-dominated you with better players and more depth. Like, you got one guy at 26 and the other 2 guys are in the teens. So, and y'all big 3 outscored their big 3. So it really came down to the key moments that if you're the GOAT, you got to step up and overcome, at least get the game 7. But you didn't even do that, and that bro. As much as you want to say it's a 1-year thing with context is so bad, bro. You ring chase, you made a super team, and then you lose to a team that was arguably shouldn't have been the favorite going into this. Let's look at this Dallas Mavericks team season before. So they finished 5. Oh, let's see. Points per game, they were 11th. Opponents' points per game, they were 10th. So top 10 pretty much all. Nothing that's, crazy off the board. Offensive rating, 8th. Defensive rating, 8. So, yeah, top 10 team. Now, when you look at who they beat the Portland Trail Blazers. They beat the Lakers, swept them, beat OKC. So then we get into, just look at their season. See what their production was like on the team. So Sean was at 12. Chandler was at 10. Butler was at 15. Jason was at 15. Kidd was at 8. And Dirk was at 23. So you can argue their team wasn't even playing as good as they played in the regular season. In the finals. These same guys are on the team. Only guy that's not there is, I forget his name, I just said it. Was it Caron Butler? I think that's the only guy that's not there. But Chandler's still close to 10. Kidd's still around 8. So, yeah, I mean, it's still similar production from the regular season, but it's tough that you lose to a team like this, and I'm sorry, bro. Like I said, when you add context, you lose in 6 games when you have a more than capable team. Like, I get king of longevity, but these are huge blemishes that's on your career. So let's go into the actual games. Try to make this a little quick. They won game 1, so we'll just look at the Miami Heat stats. I think this might have been LeBron's best game. 24 points. 9 rebounds, 5 assists, only 1 missed 3 out of 5. Like, that's huge. Chris Bosh with 19 and 10, and same with pretty much double-double with D-Wade too as well. Almost close to a triple-double. We got a little more assists. So let's go to game 2. So in Miami, was game 1 in Miami as well? So you had both games at home, pretty much had a chance to take over the series, being up 2-0, put y'all in high favor to win the series. And let's see how that turned out. Y'all lost by 2 points, so very close game. D-Wade had 36, Chris Bosh only had 12, which is not great. And LeBron dropped 20 with 50% from the field, 2 for 7 from the 3. But D-Wade killed it with the going to the free throw line. Shit like that. So let's look at, what was the Mavs? Dirk scored 20, Sean scored 20, Jason scored 16, Tyson scored 13, and it came down to the end. So let's look at the fourth quarter. LeBron only had 2 points. He went 0 for 4 when you lose by 2. Dirk had 9, Sean had 4, Jason had 8, Mario had 5, Chris didn't have shit, Brian didn't have shit. It was all D-Wade. So arguably, that was on him. So third quarter, he actually played pretty decent. So fourth quarter, he just kind of disappeared. And I mean, come on, bro, that would never happen to Jordan. This is in reality, bro. That would have never happened to Jordan. If Jordan was on this team playing this math team, them niggas might have got swept. Let's just be real. And we go, like, I don't know how we not look at that context. So they go home. I mean, they go on the road, then they win a 2-point game. Brown was 17, 9, and 3. D-Wade with 29 again. Chris Bosh stepped this scoring up a little bit more. Let's go look at the Mavs. Dirk had 34, Jason had 15, Sean had 10. So it's not like this team was just ultra dominant. They had a guy in Dirk that could do his thing, but most importantly, he just had some role players. Like, it wasn't just like he had 2 other top 15 players on his team. And barely lost by 2. And he was the only dude over 15 points. Like, what are we talking about? Look in the fourth quarter, LeBron only had 2 points this quarter, 2 for 5 in the third. I'm just curious to see how some of them games played out in the end. So, back-to-back games, he kind of struggled in the fourth. We take it back to Dallas, 2-2. So, it's an even series. Why did LeBron James GOAT factor in, like, come into play? Why didn't that tap in when he's the greatest of all time? No one can stop him. Bro, Jordan was tied 2-2. Like, come on, bro. Shit gonna happen. But the fact that y'all were up 2-1, right? You win this game, you up 3-1. Let's see what happens. LeBron went 3 for 11, 8 total points. When you could have went up 3-1, you could have went up. Come on now. And this the guy I want to put at GOAT. 3-1 could have been the potential outcome if you would have just scored more than 8 funky ass buckets. Only got to the free throw line 4 times. Like, that in itself was just showing a level of not on par with Jordan. Jordan game, he had multiple layers and dimensions. If you try to stop one thing, he's going to the next thing. And good luck trying to stop that. Alright, just double checking, making sure the volume's still good as we keep it rocking. So, D-Wade, another 30-point game. Got to the free throw line 9 times. Chris Bosh actually stepped up as well. Nobody else did too much of anything. But if Bron brings 16 points to the game, like, come on, bro. Like, if you just score 17, 18, let alone your regular average of the season, y'all would have been up 3-1. Then we come look over here. Dirk had 21, Sean had 16, Tyson had 13, Jason had 17, got nothing to do with 11. So this is one of the best games probably by them. They locked in, played good team basketball, kept the ball moving. Dirk didn't even dominate the game. He went 3 for 16. Dirk shot 3 for 16. 31%. And 0 from the three-point line. And they still beat y'all by 3. This was Dirk, hands down, worst game. And y'all could have went up 3-1. But you let Jason Terry stay in the game. You let, who else score? Sean Marion. And let's be real. That's D-Wade and LeBron James assignments, ain't it? Wouldn't LeBron be sticking Sean Marion in this lineup? Wouldn't Jason Terry in the closeout be getting guarded by D-Wade in the fourth quarter? And y'all got cooked. Like, end of the day, they beat y'all with more heart, more grit. LeBron had one attempt he shot the ball 1 time in the fourth quarter, and it was a 3-point game. 1 assist, didn't get to the free throw line. 2 turnovers. Literally, 2 turnovers was almost his highest stat besides his team rebounds in the fourth quarter. Looking at third quarter, he went 2 for 6, 4 points. And at that time, the game was still fucking close. Arguably, they were winning. In the third quarter, they were up. They had a horrible fourth quarter. Only scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. And guess who brought 0 to the table? So going into the third, if LeBron just played decent, they take on the lead going into the fourth. But they got cooked. Sean Marion in the third quarter dropped 10. That's embarrassing, bro. That's one of y'all guys. In the fourth quarter, Dirk dropped 10. Jason dropped 8. Got outplayed by role players. Literally, Sean Marion and what's the name? Backdoor. Now y'all defeated. Lose by 10 down there. And this was the biggest margin of deficit so far. 8 of 19, 17 points, 42% from the field, 0 from 3, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Had a triple-double with 17 points. I mean, that's not a bad game, but you got to do more, bro, when y'all down big like this. This is the worst game for D-Wade, but the thing is, you had Udonis Haslem step up. You had Mario Chalmers step up. You had Mike Miller step up. So if you average your GOAT numbers that you should be averaging, at least over 25 points a game, y'all make this a game. Y'all make this a game. So let's see when did this game start to break open. So they're down pretty much 4 going into halftime. Down 6 pretty much. And then, yeah, they just never got back into the game as far as the quarter totals. So let's look in the fourth quarter. Once again, 1 for 4. So that's horrible. We just go add up his fourth quarter points. He might have had 10 fourth quarter points the whole series. D-Wade with 10. Haslam with 8. Man, that's big time. He had 8 in the fourth. He had Dirk with 8. Jason with 8. Let's look in the third. LeBron was 6 off 3 and 5 shooting. It's just like, why couldn't you carry that into what's the name? But he's not shooting any free throws. So he had a bad first quarter, fourth quarter. So now, this is when your GOAT level should come out and start shining, right? Get beat by 10 again, and y'all was at home to push it to 6. And y'all had another home game, if I'm not mistaken, for game 7. Let's see what happened here. Dirk dropped 21, so it wasn't one of Dirk's best games again. Dirk only had 33% from the field. It's crazy. Shot 14 from 3, and they still beat y'all by 10. Because Jason Terry cooked y'all? Like, that's embarrassing. And as much as we love LeBron, and I think LeBron is great, he has some embarrassing blemishes. And the thing that the guy was trying to bring up that I argued with on social media with this same convo, he was like, well, what about the time where Jordan got swept? Let's just look at Jordan's getting swept. First round. Both times he got swept was to the Celtics, right? So 1986. Yeah, I did that right. 1986. Bulls versus Celtics. The Celtics are one of the most legendary teams that we had out there. I think this team might have went to the finals. I could be wrong. Let's see. No, that was the first round. That's all first round stuff. Is this that year? Okay, so no. Boston Celtics end up losing in the Eastern Conference semifinals. All right, so no, this wasn't one of the greatest teams, but it still had pretty good depth. Let's just go through this team real quick. Basic stats. You had Larry Bird with 28. You had Kevin McHale with 28. You had Dennis Johnson with 19. You had Danny Ainge with 17. You had Robert Parrish with 17. So they starting 5, and they dude off the bench. Oh no, that's just they starting 5. All scoring over 15, and 2 dudes damn near got 30 on the team. And we want to look at this as a blemish for Jordan. Let's look at the games. 49, 63. Like, bro, what is Jordan supposed to do when your team is just outmanned? So that's not a blemish. That's why I didn't go to LeBron's 07 year, because that's clearly a year that you can look at. It's like, oh, all right, they didn't play that great. They didn't have a great team. Trying to look at. That's fine. We can't look at that. We'll just look at the actual series. But let's look. Jordan basic stats. You had him at 43. You had Woolridge at 21, and the other 2 guys was barely at 10. He shot 50% from the field, and maybe he only shot 1 3. So he only shot 1 3, but he killed them niggas. 43 points a game. I can't look at Jordan in the face and be like, that's his fault. The next year he averaged 35 against the Celtics. So he lost back-to-back years in the first round against a very stacked team. It's like, that's not the same as LeBron losing to a old team with 1 superstar, and just he underperformed. Jordan didn't underperform. That wasn't the reason they was losing to the Celtics. So like I said, this is embarrassing, and this is a blemish that it's hard for me to look at and just get rid of. So this is game 7, right? Game 6. LeBron had 21. D-Wade had 17. So this is absolutely D-Wade's worst game. Arguably LeBron's best or tied for his best game. But Chris Bosh had 19. Mario Chalmers had 18. Udonis Haslem had 11. So guys were stepping up to score. Guys were stepping up to contribute. Well, let's look over here. Dirk at 21. Sean at 12. JJ at 15. And Jason at 27. At the end of the day, it was the two guys, and mostly the second guy that was off the bench that killed y'all. And y'all couldn't match the energy, bro, and got cooked. That is all-time embarrassing. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I don't fuck what nobody say. So now we move on to LeBron or Heat versus Spurs. Let me go to the kitchen real quick. Do something. All right, we back. So yeah, you get into this 4-1 embarrassing loss. And the thing about this is, for me, people love to talk about, oh, D-Wade, is D-Wade, he was hurt, he's injured. Bro, maybe that's true, and I'm just biased as fuck. But the most thing that I think about is when LeBron looked back, seen Kawhi come in, and he was like, fuck. I don't think LeBron played bad, but, bro, the Spurs dominated them. And most importantly, I think the narrative that I look at in sports is sometimes you could lose, but there's still questions on the table, right? So with that Spurs team, when Ray Allen sank that 3, I think the Spurs organization, Spurs fans, and even some fans that didn't like the Heat felt that them niggas stole that ring. And it was fair play, don't get it twisted. But I think the Spurs think they let one go. I think they felt like the Heat robbed them of a ring that they could have had, right? Spurs say, okay, we'll see y'all next year. And we'll show y'all what was really supposed to be the outcome. And that's how I felt back then when I seen this play out as a youngin'. And that's how I still feel to this day. Because let's just be real. If Ray Allen didn't sink that shot, the Spurs would have won 4-2 the year before this. You back though, they felt robbed. They lost. Well, it's clearly their fault. Let things go down at the last seconds, and then they couldn't get it back. They said, bet, we'll see y'all next year. And let's just see what was the problem, or what can we probably diagnose just looking at statistics. So Tony Parker, what's the stats? 18 points a game. Kawhi with 17. Tim Duncan with 15. Mono with 15. Patty with 10. You got, and Danny with pretty much 10. But this is one of the oldest teams out. Literally one of the oldest teams in the league, and they got cooked 4-1. I don't know, man. So this is the thing. D-Wade played every game. D-Wade, let's see, took 64 shots instead of closer to 91. Let's see what they second best scorer, how many shots they took. It's going to be so spread out. 35, 30, 29. So I'm just looking. Chris Bosh with 51. Ray Allen with 41. Rashard with 32. So you definitely see D-Wade with only 15 points a game. Chris Bosh didn't step up as well offensively with 14 points a game. And you could say LeBron, he played his best. But I'm sorry, I'm not giving you an easy out because at the end of the day, none of these guys averaged over 20 points a game. None of these guys averaged over 20 points a game. They just had multiple guys scoring, moving the ball around. You can argue if D Wade dropped 20 points, 30 points a game, y'all still would have got cooked. Just because of how y'all play basketball versus how they play basketball. They move the ball around, they make the extra pass. LeBron's ball dominant. D Wade ball dominant. Y'all isolate Chris Bosh and everybody else stand in the corner. Ray Allen, Rashard, like all these other dudes stand in the corner. So I think that's the difference. So I respect it. This team had depth, but bro, 36, 37, 31. It's like y'all gotta play defense too. And y'all let everybody get off. I definitely look at that, but let's look at the actual games and see how they came out. Blowout game 1 in San Antonio. That's tough. That's tough. LeBron with 25, D Wade with 19, Chris Bosh with 18. And I think the thing is, when you compare this to Jordan, like, Jordan was averaging 28 plus, 30 plus a game, sometimes 35 points in the finals. And that's probably what you needed when you seen your other guys wasn't stepping up to the plate. But even then, Ray Allen was 16, and y'all got cooked. Y'all got 5 dudes in double digits. Let's go look at the Spurs. 19, 21, 13. You got Thiago Splitter giving you 14, and you had Mono giving you 16 with another 9 off the bench. So they had dudes scoring, but you're losing to role players. It's not like you're losing to these teams are just so much better than y'all talent-wise. So to me, y'all had 5 scores, double digits. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. Then they had 2 other guys right under 10. Yeah, that matters, but bro, y'all gotta find ways to get other guys involved. Or nigga, LeBron, you just gotta take over. D Wade, you gotta take over. So like I said, that's embarrassing. Got cooked by 15 game 1 and had multiple double digit scores. So what that mean? Here we go. LeBron 35. That's what you gotta do. And they won by 1. Look at that. LeBron upped his shit up. Chris Bosh had 18. D Wade went to 14. He played 33 minutes. And this is when the dynamic changed as well. LeBron was clearly the guy that was taking over games. So I wonder if that kind of messed with it, because it's not the lack of minutes. They both had high turnovers. He's getting to the basket. He's just not taking as many attempts. Chris Bosh taking more attempts than him. And I don't know if that's coaching or what, but y'all still had 4 guys in multiple digits and Ray Allen right at 10. So it's not like y'all was 100% outmatched. Look at this game. Tim with 18, Tony with 22, Mono with 19. They took it to a different level and y'all didn't. And if this guy's the GOAT, I mean, what's the excuses? What's the excuses? So now we go to game 3, another blowout. That's embarrassing, bro. LeBron with 22, D Wade with 22. To me, these statistics don't show me that, oh, it was just D Wade knees why they couldn't compete. Because that's the excuse that I hear. It seemed like the Spurs just came to get back on that year that y'all beat them the year before. And y'all ain't have no heart to step up to them niggas. That's what it looked like. Rashard with 14, Ray with 11. So once again, y'all had over 4 to 5 dudes scoring multiple double digits. Here, same thing, about 5 dudes double digits. But Kawhi actually ended up cooking y'all. So LeBron, that's on. If I'm looking at everybody on here, unless LeBron was trying to run that whole Danny Green, that's your guy. You got outpaid by a 22-year-old Kawhi Leonard, and you're the GOAT. Getting blown out at home. This the GOAT. Like, I get it, 50K, amazing. But bro, these blemishes you can't white them out. I'm sorry. You're backdoor at home again. Could have kept the series wet. Series could have been 2-2 if you win this game. Get cooked again. At home. Back-to-back losses. Let's look here. Kawhi with 20. Tony with 19. Nobody else had over 15. Patty with 14. Tim with 10. Let's go look at the production over here. Okay, LeBron stepped up. Looking like he had too much help. Chris Bosh with 12. D-Wade played fucking horrible. Ray Allen with 8. And then you got James Jones down there with 11. Only played 3 minutes. That's fucking insane, to be honest. But once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in double digits. Y'all had 3. Y'all had 4, excuse me. Maybe 3. Maybe this is like trash garbage time. I don't know. Well, once again, you're telling me the difference in a championship that LeBron James lost is what? Tim Duncan getting 10 points in game 5, game 6. Tony only having 19. Kawhi only having 20. You're telling me the difference is Patty Mills? Like, they got out schemed, they got outplayed, and I get it. Popovich is a great coach, but if you say the greatest of all time, sometimes you got to outplay great coaching. Once again, this was a pretty good game. 10-4-21. I mean, the series over though. Like, this is almost stat pattern at this point. But regardless, 31 points on decent efficiency. Nobody else did anything, but the series is over. Series is over. And it just those are the things that I feel like you have to come and talk about when we talk about the GOAT debate, because then the Lando's rebuttal to that was Jordan didn't play anybody in the finals. And the thing about the Bulls is they literally played teams that had more double-digit options than the Bulls ever did. It was only 1 year when I went back and looked that you could really look at the team that the Bulls had and was like, oh, they have more options than them scoring. And that was the last year versus the Jazz, if I'm not mistaken. Every other year, the other teams had way more scores. So let's look at 1991 was the first one? Where my baby at? Basketball reference. I love this. Yeah, first ring 1991. Stack team. They be the stack team. Let me see. Well, was this team still stacked? It'd be Magic, Vlade Divac, Sam Perkins, James Worthy, Ace Green. I mean, that's some talent. 18 points, 16 points, 19 points. So you got your top 4 all scoring over 15 points a game. And then you go look at the Bulls, double-digit scoring-wise, outside. I mean, you obviously Jordan. You can't count Jordan. He's the guy that we're looking at to be great. You got Pippen, you got Horace, and you got Paxson. So you got 3 dudes outside of Jordan. And he's facing a team that got 4 double-digit scores, along with an all-time great in Magic Johnson. And you can argue James Worthy's an all-time great as well. And they were still in their prime, 29, 22, 31. And the thing is about this, these niggas gotta play defense too. He can't just go score 31 when you got a team that got that many scoring options on the other side. So not only is he scoring 31 and cooking niggas, with also 11 assists. I didn't even peep that. Playing hella defense. Your next best scorer is at 20, and then the other 2 dudes under 15, versus none of they dudes under 15. So outside of the Jordan factor, Pippen had 2 more points than their second leading scorer. Their third and fourth option had 3 and 5 more points than Jordan's second and best, third and fourth best option. So Jordan is a clear difference here between Magic Johnson. You're not telling me Vlade Dipak's not getting 2 more points is the difference why they got swept 4-1. Magic Johnson not being able to match being a superstar on the other team and not being able to match Jordan output on offense is the difference. And also not being able to lock Jordan up is the difference. He cooked them. 36 points, 33 points, 29 points, 28 points. And then you had Scotty at the end drop 31. But crazy statistics from Jordan. Move on to the next year. Trailblazers. They won in 6. Let's look at the Trailblazers team first. You had Clyde at 24. You had Terry at 16. You had Jerome Kersey at 14. You had Clifford Robertson at 10. You got Danny Ainge at 10, former Celtic. You got Kevin Duckworth at 9, damn near 10. And you got Mark Bryant at 10. At 10. So that's 6, almost 7 digit options, along with Clyde Drexler being an all-time great, Terry Porter being a pretty good point guard, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, a pretty good point guard throughout his career. In their primes, not playing the all-time old-ass teams, and you got other stars on your side that's top 15 players. It's a big difference. Now let's go look at Jordan's team. Jordan only had 2 other guys that scored double-digit points. But guess what Jordan did? He ain't bitch, he ain't complain. He got Scotty. That's enough. We're gonna lock some shit up, and I'm gonna drop their ass on offense. And Scotty gonna bring that 20 points a game. But even looking at this, that's 22 points from the 3. I like, damn, Scotty was shooting horrible. But my shit, arguably, look at Jordan shooting the 3 ball 42%. I just looked at LeBron versus the Mavs. It wasn't this. Just saying. But this wasn't a 3-point shooting error like they love to say. So looking at this, what was the main difference? It wasn't Terry Porter, 4 points not being able to match Scottie Pippen. It wasn't, let me see, I'm scrolling too fast. It damn sure wasn't Kersey and Clifford and Danny Ainge and Mark Bryant, because at the end of the day, they was matching John Paxson and everybody else on the team as the other options. The biggest difference is that 11-point difference between the 2 primary scorers, and 35 for Jordan averaging versus 24. So 10-point difference. 35, 6, and 5. Like, what are we saying? But you can't say he didn't play hard competition. The team was stacked. The team had multiple options as far as the Portland Trailblazers. Jordan's team only had him as far as the main scoring option as Scottie Pippen. Other than that, nigga, shit fell off. And then the Portland Trailblazers still had an all-time great shooting guard, arguably the top 5 shooting guard of all time. Then we go to the Suns, where things really start to prove my point. 27 points, 17 from Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, 17 points, Richard Dumars, 15 points. Let's see. Everybody in their prime, everybody under 30. Now let's go look at Jordan's team. You telling me Scottie Pippen being able to score 5 more points than their second option when the third and fourth option over 15 and Jordan's third and fourth option not even over 15? 13 and 11? You know the difference? 41 points averaging for Jordan. I'm just saying, it's levels to this shit. And I said this earlier, I have no dog in this race. Russell Westbrook is my favorite player of all time. I don't give a fuck about LeBron or Jordan when you talk about favorite players. LeBron used to be my favorite player of all time before he went to the Heat, but I don't care. Just like I don't care about Jordan. I'm really just calling it how I see it. For people that think I'm biased, but looking at this, Jordan teams, if you take away Jordan's greatness, you will look at the other teams as being more stacked than them. And I don't see how you can argue that. But you want to say that he don't have any competition is insane. It's insane. Let's see. Let's scroll through. We'll look at this Sonics team as well. Like I said, the Jazz was pretty evenly matched for the most part, so we really don't have to go to them as far as like scoring options. But Sean Kemp at 23, Gary Payton at 18. Forget how to say this guy's name. at 16, Hawkins at 13, and Sam Perkins at 11. We go look at Jordan's team. So they almost pretty much matched them outside of Jordan. Jordan averaged 27. Nobody on this team averaged 27. He averaged 23. So the leading scorer for the Sonics was 4 points less. Okay, cool. They still lost 4-2. So what's that big difference? It's not that this team was undoubtedly better, because you look at Scotty was at 15. Scotty went low. Scotty was under 20 for the first time I seen him. You got Tony Kukoc, which is if I'm not mistaken, a small forward. So he was coming off the bench. And Luke Longley with how many points per game? With 11 points a game. 13 and 11 points a game for the third and fourth option. Their third and fourth option was getting 16 and 13, and then the fifth option was at 11. At the end of the day, bro, they got outplayed. But it wasn't that they didn't have. He was playing nobody. Sean Kemp, legend. Gary Payton, one of the best defensive players of all time, and he was actually had an offensive bag too. Shot 44%. Sean Kemp shot 55% from the field. Like, these niggas weren't playing bad. They just couldn't keep up with Jordan, and that's the huge difference, man. That I think a lot of people have to understand. Like I said, I love the boy Bron for his greatness, but it's things that you have to kind of understand. Like, especially when you talk about like how you kind of put context behind certain rings, and I don't love to do it, but with LeBron, the bubble ring, I get it, but I still put an asterisk on it. So yes, he has 4 championships, but the third one at me is kind of like that last one's kind of you get the 3-1 loss. The 3-1 comeback, right? People say that's the hardest championship of all time, and one of the most impressive championships of all time. To a degree, it is, but at the same time, your lack of greatness, you being in that deficit to have to pull yourself out to another level, along with Kyrie stepping up. Because there's no reason, if you're a GOAT, you should be going down 3-1 to a team that was just down 3-1. And the thing I thought about earlier was like, people want to talk about competition. We gassed that Warriors team, both, even with KD, like, they had challenges. They almost lost to the Spurs if Kawhi didn't step on fucking that one guy's leg. They were getting cooked by the Spurs in that first game. The next year, following year, the Rockets take these niggas to the bitter end. CP3 get hurt. But the reason I bring this up is because the Warriors is one of the best offenses of all time, but we forget that you have to play defense too. Their personnel wasn't just this defensive heavy team. So if you're the GOAT, you should still be able to exploit their defense and be able to get your shit off at a dominant level. Like, yes, they're great on offense. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I'm talking about the year they came back 3-1. But Draymond's their big. And then you got like a guy that's like a journeyman at center from time to time if they're not playing small ball. But Klay was okay. Klay wasn't like the greatest defender of all time. No one's going to say Klay was I don't think he won any first team defenses. Maybe he did. But damn sure won't win no defense MVPs and shit like that. Iggy was cool, but we all know LeBron still averaged 35 on Iggy. So what led to y'all being down 3-1 when their defense is not this all-time dominant defense? But, ask them, and even being down 3-1, it's impressive to come back from, but at the same time, you also got to get some, like, points deducted for putting yourself in that circumstance, especially when that team was already showing so many flaws against OKC. But outside of that, you go back, they lose 4-1 and 4-2 to the Mavs. To the Mavs and the Spurs. You could argue they don't even get the championship. I agree. Okay. What's up, Flying Low? What's up, Raul? This nigga hating on the GOAT. I'm not hating. I'm just being honest on how I view things. And he had some all-time blemishes. Like, even with the 3-1 comeback, Draymond getting kicked out dictates a lot. Changes a lot. Do they still pull it out? Maybe, maybe not. But salute to them. You go look at the 4-1 loss to the Spurs, that's embarrassing. And you could argue if they don't get saved by Ray Allen, you're on a super team. You almost lost 3. And I know it's a what if. I'm not like holding on to that. But you almost lost 3 championships out of 4. And you had undoubtedly great help. To me, that's not GOAT material. To me, that's not GOAT material. But I love the guy. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I just think his game has some flaws. His mentality has some flaws throughout the years, and we've seen cracks of that. So now you diminish LeBron. So now to diminish LeBron, we diminish all-time great teams. It's not that. I mean, and that's the same thing people try to do with Jordan. They try to say he's playing against harder competition. I would argue the competition was even. I'm just more saying that when LeBron are losing these finals, there's only really 2 finals that I take away. And it's that last year when Kyrie was gone. If I'm not mistaken, it's the last year Kyrie was gone before he went to the Lakers. I don't count that loss, and I don't count the 07 loss. All the other losses is like, they're kind of in your realm house of being winnable. If we want to go look at some of LeBron's other performances in the finals, I'm just saying. I love the guy. I'm not a hater by any means, but Jordan was averaging 40 points when he needed to in games to make sure his team got over the edge when LeBron wasn't stepping up certain times. So 07, we don't count the 07 year. It's the 06, 07 year? Is it this year? Yeah, it's this year. So let's actually go look at this year. See how much of a matchup difference it was. So per game statistics. Tim Duncan with 20, Tony with 18, and Ginobili with 16. Everybody else was just good role players, right? So honestly, I could argue, maybe I'm wrong. Could the team when Jordan was getting swept by the Celtics, right? When Jordan got swept by the Celtics, could that Jordan beat this Spurs team? The Jordan that averaged 43 points a game, or the Jordan that averaged 35 points a game, could he beat this Spurs team? With 3 guys being over 15 points a game, only 1 guy being at 20. I don't know. It brings an interesting conversation because it's like, oh, he was undermanned. But it wasn't like these guys was just like super dominant. They really just collapsed the defense and you couldn't really do shit against them. Okay, LeBron had 27. Larry with 14. Drew with 11. The Gausses with 11. Let's look at this series, man. Let's dive into this series. Oh, no. So I was looking at the wrong thing. That was the season totals. So the season, they had about 4 guys averaging double digits. LeBron at 22, Drew at 12, Daniel Gibson at 10, Sasha at 10. And then you have these guys. Let's see the Spurs. 24, 18, and 17. So the second and third option was scoring, just doing a little math here, a combined total of how many more than LeBron's third option. So they were scoring 22 points a game together. Manu and is right at like 35 points a game. Am I wrong? Or 25 points? I'm high as shit. I said it right the first time. So about a 12, essentially like a 12 to 13 point difference. I'm just wondering if Jordan could have taken over to a point where if he's averaging 43 points versus 22 points, that's another 21 points that he's adding to the team that would have been on this Cavs team. And that would surpass their averages. Because it was only a 13-point deficit from the big threes of these two teams. I think that has to be looked at. Jordan at a young age, it wasn't an excuse for him. His teams you couldn't have an excuse for. But look at that, 23 turnovers, only 22 points a game, averaging 5 less points, shooting 35% from the field. I don't think that would have happened to Jordan. And it's arguable that Jordan could have beat this 017 with the Cavs team that LeBron was equipped with. It's arguable. I won't say it's a hands-down thing, but it's arguable that he would have beat them. Let's actually look at the games. 11-point game, 11-point game, 3-point game, 1-point game. Yeah, Jordan could have easily took over this and made it at least go game 7. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's look at the stats in the game. This game, he only averaged 14. Come on, bro. You lose by 10. You have another guy averaging 13. Drew Gooden averaged 14. Andrew averaged 10. And Daniel averaged 16. This is not an excuse for his team. So when you say his team wasn't good enough to beat the Spurs. Game 1, that's not true. Maybe when you look on paper through a whole season, if you had to pick, oh yeah, I'm picking the Spurs. But when you talk about individual game plays, these niggas stepped up game 1. Their star only averaged 14 points when he normally averaged 27. So that's a 13-point difference, and y'all only lost by 9. They collapsed the paint on his ass, and he had no second options. Let's see if we could pull up. Let's see if we could pull up some shorts, because I ain't trying to get clipped. But, hey, man, shout out to everybody in here, man. All 6 people. Appreciate y'all. Y'all like and subscribe, man. I'm trying to get more active for sure, for sure. 2007 Spurs versus Cavs. And let's just see if we can find some shorts. Find some shorts. I can't hear shit. Is it muted? What the fuck?
Throws giving the Spurs a 3-point lead. The Cavs inbound. Ginobili makes 1 of 2 free throws, giving the Spurs a 3-point lead. The Cavs inbound the ball to James. James drives, attacking Bowen, lays it up and gets it to go. 1-point game. The Cavs foul Ginobili again, who knocks in both free throws, giving the Spurs a 3-point lead. The Cavs inbound the ball to James, who puts up a 3, but they won't get it to go. Time runs out and the Spurs take a 3-0 series lead. You can hear LeBron arguing with the ref at the end of the game.
And let's just be real. That would have kept the game 2-1 because they were at home. So they had a chance to go 2-2 on the road. You can't say that it was just outmatched because that was a 3-point game.
Did you know about the worst?
That shit loud as fuck. Let me see if there's any other. Because I used to listen back to these games and watch the games. You listen to some of the commentators. They'll kind of talk about the Spurs game plan and how they're being effective versus LeBron. And that's kind of what I'm looking for.
James drives and gets an and one. He heads to the line.
It's the same game. It's the same game. Let me see.
Now, it's impressive that LeBron led this roster to the finals at age 22. Now, offensively, this team was average, but look at their defense. They were literally a top 5 defense in the league. Now, we know how good San Antonio was. Just look at their opponent's points per game and their defensive rating. Now, this is what LeBron averaged in the finals, and they ain't bad, but let's look at the efficiency. 36, 20.
We'll get into that. Let me see. I'm just trying to see if I can get any insight on that game plan versus them. Yeah, no, it's the same dude making the same ones, but let's just get back to the Stizzats. But yeah, like I said, if LeBron drops 20 points to 27 points this game, they're more in this game. So I don't look at it as a team. It was a team fault. Let me see. Definitely had many flaws. People have to cater to his play style, but on-court people have to gameplay for him before everything else. MJ, Kareem still above him in my opinion. I mean, that's the same thing. That's all I'm saying. I think for me, I have Kobe because the thing with Kobe, and I've had this conversation already, but when Kobe won those 2 extra rings, it silenced all the questions to his career and saying that he got carried by Shaq. Without Shaq, he wouldn't have any other rings. It just showed that they were 2 great players that played together. The fact he ended up having more rings in the end of his career than Shaq, it just speaks volumes, and I don't look at it as he got carried. I just can't. So to have 5 rings out of 7, a 3-peat, and then he back-to-back as well, and then he back-to-back. So he got a 3-peat and a 2-peat, one without Shaq. LeBron's never back-to-back championship, and that shows a certain level of dominance, and he wasn't doing that with no super team. So for me, I still have Kobe over LeBron. That was probably be the next conversation of like, do you got still for LeBron or Tim Duncan, and or Shaq too? I still got Shaq up there too because LeBron got 4 rings, and I'm big on rings. I'm big on rings. I still got Tim. I might still have Tim over LeBron. And I know for a fact that I might still have Shaq over LeBron. Because at the end of the day, Shaq 3-peated, bro. LeBron ain't never did that. Nah, of course Shaq was that nigga. But the thing is, before Kobe, he never won a ring. And he was on plenty of teams that were good enough to win championships. So it's not like Shaq had 2 or 3 rings, then Kobe got with him and they won 3 rings and shit like that. If that was the case, you're right. But we've seen the flaws with Shaq. Even with when they lost to the Pistons, it's like Shaq is great, but he has his flaws as far as taking teams over the hump sometimes. And I'm not saying that was all his fault by any means, but Shaq could have crazy production, but with the free throws and how like teams can kind of game plan and win on him, like bro, Kobe was that guy that helped them get over the hump. Just as much as Shaq helped Kobe get rings, if you ask me, because Penny was a great team. Them Magic had good teams, and he wasn't getting it done. Game 2 at San Antonio, they win by 9. Oh no, this game 1 still. That's right. I'm high. Yeah, we game 2 now. What was the score? They lost by 11. So let's look at the teams. LeBron with 25. Popovich with 13, Gooden with 13, Gibson with 15, and then you got 2 guys right under 10. Let's go look at this Spurs. This game they just didn't play, bro. Ginobili with 25, Parker with 30, Tim with 23. But at the end of the day, 11-point game. Once again, if he's at that 40 point, like I said, if we look at Michael Jordan's years that he got swept by the Celtics, if we put that Jordan on this team that averaged 43 points a game, all right, yeah, these dudes could have did what they did and still fuck around and lost this game because it was an 11-point game. If you throw another, 18 points out there, 17 points out there, if you add Jordan's 43 average, like, I don't know, man. We go game 3. Bruce Bolton, 13. Tim Duncan, 17. Oh, Tony Parker, 17. Tim Duncan, 14. So I wonder what's the difference. Is it the defense? I would love to have to go back and watch this game and see what made it so much closer. But you look at Popovich, 13. Gooden, 13. Ilgauskas, 12. Bron, 25. With shooting 9 for 23, shooting under 40% and 0 from the 3-point line. So his shot was not falling for shit. And that's what the thing was. They was collapsing the defense and making it harder on him. But he still averaged, he ended up scoring 25 this game. But the thing is, y'all still lost by 3. And none of these niggas showed out. I'm sorry. If we talk about if you want to compare Jordan and those years, they're winning this game. And it would have been 2-1. against a team that we usually just throw out and say that LeBron had no chance. That's not true. That's not true. Game one, if he goes off and don't average more than 14, this team played good enough to win against the Spurs game one. Game 3, they have a chance to win. So the series could arguably be 2-1 in the Cavs' favor if LeBron does that extra GOAT level shit that y'all say he has in him. Am I wrong? Because they played good enough to keep him in the game. Yes, he averaged 25, but 25 ain't 39, 40 points a game where he would just carry. Because none of these guys was over 20 points. Still lost by 3. That's tough. And he missed the game-winning three-pointer to at least tie the game. So, I don't know. With 5 seconds left, do you not take it to the basket? And then Game 7, they lost by 1. They lost by 1. So that's the thing. These teams was good enough to make it to the finals, and all of a sudden the Spurs are just so much better than them. LeBron didn't have a chance. I don't like that. And you could argue this is a blemish on his career because if this was Jordan, this wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have happened. I'm sorry. He wouldn't have lost 4-0. All right, this game, 24 points, shot 33 from the field. If he just would have shot 50% from the field, they got a dub probably. It's a 1-point game and you shot 33% from the field. You are the star. Gibson had 10, Gooden had 11, Gauskas had 8, Eric Verjao had 8, Damian Jones had 9, and all I'm saying is that was good enough to keep you in the game. Robert Horry had, Robert Horry had 27. Ginobili had 27. Parker had 14. Nobody else was even close besides Tim Duncan with 12. Tim Duncan shot 26% from the field. So the defense was decent. Game 3 and Game 4, they had a good enough defense to compete with them. So it wasn't like they were just 100% outmatched in 07. So even then, that's a narrative. That's a narrative. That LeBron, we shouldn't look at 07. But honestly, you can look at this as just as bad as the Mavs performance. But he's so young, you don't want to like shit on him. But at the end of the day, when we talk about GOAT conversation, you had a chance to get a ring early and you fell short. Back door, the reason you want to, like, I ain't having no crazy expectations. Who won hella early as well? That was in his year. That was in his class. 2006 D Wade. I thought I put that. The fuck? He versus Mavs. A team that with all 3 of them niggas they lost to, but by himself he pretty much carried. Look at the difference when D Wade was on that stage versus when LeBron was on that stage. And you could argue this Spurs team versus this Mavs team. This Mavs team was just as lethal. When you talk about, you had the number 1 guy that's going to get you about 20. The second option going to get you anywhere from 15 to 20. But he averaged 22 the whole series. Then a third and fourth option could give you above double digits. That's what the 07 team was built on, except for game 2 where they had 3 dudes over 22. But these dudes, they had 2 dudes averaging 22. That wasn't that Spurs team. When we look at the whole series summary, that wasn't that Spurs team. Spurs stats. 24, 18, and 17. D Wade's competition was 22, 14, and 12. Y'all tell me which team was harder if that's even. So look at the difference between what D Wade had the opportunity. They were down 0-2. They were down 0-2. They could have folded 4 games as well. D Wade said, not on my fucking watch. And the thing is, LeBron got to see D Wade the year before he lost. 07 is only 1 year after 06. D Wade won a championship the year before LeBron got swept in a championship. And you could argue the teams was pretty much the same. You had 1 guy with 34 points a game and everybody else was way under. Way under. 2 guys at 13, no other double-digit scores. Let's see LeBron team. two guys in double-digit scoring. You telling me Drew Gooden not scoring one extra point, and then Daniel Gibson not getting 3 extra points is like the hugest difference on why you got swept versus this guy won a championship? No, it's LeBron not scoring 34 points and being efficient like D-Wade was. And D-Wade wasn't no shooter. D-Wade shot 45% from the field. You shot 35%. He shot 46. He even shot better from the three-point line, and D-Wade wasn't considered a shooter. Free throw attempt, 97. LeBron James free throw since 29. They came in at the same year, same class. D-Wade had arguably less experience because he went a year earlier to the finals than LeBron on similar production teams. So it's not that he's too young. I just think that we give LeBron a little bit too much glaze when it comes to is he on the level of Jordan and Kobe, and I don't think so. Shaq definitely got lazy. He played his part, but Shaq was that nigga. Young MJ getting cooked before the finals. He was losing in the playoffs, but he wasn't getting cooked. He was averaging over 35 points before he started winning finals. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my take here. I'm about to wrap it up, get to eating. Okay, let me go check on some shit real quick. I think that's the biggest difference. That's the biggest difference between LeBron and Jordan, if you ask me. Because I think Jordan wins that. I think D-Wade beats that. D-Wade might have beat that 07 team. And we don't want to get into this cheating ass series. He almost lost back-to-back. OKC cooked them niggas game 1. Game 2, Durant got fouled on the fucking baseline. They don't call it. It would have been going to the free throw to tie it at 98. Then the niggas hit free throw. So they would have went to overtime and almost won game 2. Game 3, they cook. Game 4, they cook. Game 5, they cook us. But these, I ain't gonna lie, we almost went up 2-0. And that shit would have been fucking scary for them niggas, especially after how they had already just lost to the Mavs. But they win this one. I'm just going through, seeing if we should look at any of these other finals. So you got the Cavs versus the Warriors. So I have questioned 3 of his losses that look like blemishes. The Mavs is a blemish. The Spurs losing 4-1 is a blemish. And honestly, that 07 is a blemish. I think D-Wade or Jordan or Kobe probably would win those series when you talk about the production and the lack of production for LeBron. So, yeah, I'm starting to look at that 07 as a blemish and not giving him the easy way out. So, let's look at this Warriors team when they lose. This is the first year. Kyrie gets hurt this year. So I don't think you can count this year. This is the one of those years I think you don't count. But let's just see statistically if that's fair. 26 by Curry, Iggy with 16, Clay with 15, Draymond with 13. So even this team is like, yeah, they're the Splash Bros, but it's really just Curry and a lot of role players and okay defense. All right, so now let's go look at LeBron. You had 35 from him, so he was going crazy. Timothy Mozgov with 14, JR with 11, Tristan with 10, and then the one game Kyrie played 23 points a game. And then Kevin Love was hurt the whole season. So honestly, I'm just looking. It had 3 other guys that were double-digit scorers. One above 15, the other 2 was at 13. Look at LeBron's team. Timothy at 14 is right around Iggy's production, only 2 points under. JR is 4 points under Tristan, and then Tristan Thompson at 10 points is right around where Draymond, 3 points under Draymond. Okay. So, I mean, it's still close. If LeBron goes to that 40 points a game, maybe they could pull this out, but you could argue the team wasn't as good. But if he's the GOAT, if he's defending and shit like that, I don't know, man. Let's look at some of these games, see what happened. Let's see what really happened. Game 1, they got cooked by 8 at Oakland. LeBron with 44, so you can't say it's his fault. Only 4 turnovers. Tristan had 2 points. Kyrie had his 23, played 43 minutes. Timothy had 16. JR had 9. Shump had 6. So let's go look at their squad. Clay with 22. Curry with 26. Why they get cooked so bad? You had 2 dudes with 44 and 23. Just got outplayed, look like. Let's see how it went quarter for quarter. Cleveland was up 10 points in the first quarter and then lost it the second quarter. And after that, the game was pretty... Oh, it went to overtime, actually. And they got cooked in OT. So, let's look at overtime. Let's see what happened in overtime. LeBron only had 2 points. Y'all tell me, is that GOAT behavior? I don't know. He cooked in the fourth to get them back in the game, for sure. He cooked in the third, for sure. Maybe he just gassed out. 1 for 4. 2 missed threes. 2 turnovers as well. And then you go over here, Steph had 4. All free throws, too. Harrison had 3. Draymond had 2. LeBron had no free throws. So he was pulling up shots and shit, look like, if we just look at a free throw comparison from him and Curry. That's tough. So it came down to the end, and you got outscored by 8. And it wasn't that like it was just a dominant performance. It's just Curry hit you with 4. Draymond hit you with, Harrison hit you with a 3. Draymond got 2 free throws, and Iggy got 1 free throw. It was all free throws. Literally, 7 of the 9 points was free throws. 7 of the 10 points was free throws. So, that's tough. That's tough. Especially in overtime. You go game 2, Cavs win. So, like I said, if the Cavs could win games and get to overtime, and you have the GOAT on your team, at what point do we start to look at it a certain way? And he only shot 31% from the field. So he wasn't playing the greatest, but 39 points, 17 from Timothy, 13 from JR. And we go look over here. Clay had 34, but Steph only had 19. Like, this team was great offensively, but they had their flaws, bro. They just would have flurries where you couldn't stop them sometime, like Game 6 Clay and shit like that. Or fourth quarter, like OKC, when they were down 3-1 and, like, Curry goes off in the fourth quarter. Like, that's the difference with this team. But, like, fundamentally, bro, they would have cold nights. 5 for 23, 21% from the field, 13% from the 3. Like, thank God LeBron played good enough with the 40 to end up winning by 2. But it wasn't like this team was just ultimately just outmatched to a point we should look at this as like, is this a blemish? I don't know. Y'all win 2 games back to back. And then you lose 3 games straight as the GOAT when you won 2 games back to back. I don't know, man. I don't know. This might be a blemish too. Even with Kyrie getting hurt. It sucks that Kyrie and Clay got hurt. If Kyrie and Clay was healthy, it's arguably that y'all would have won for sure. But the fact that you was able to beat this team and compete with this team, even with them being hurt, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you had a chance here to get another ring. So even if it's not a blemish, it's another chance to make your finals record look better. So if you beat the Mavs, if you beat the Spurs 4-1, I'll give you the 07 one, whatever. And you beat this team, that's seven rings. That's 7 rings that LeBron have. And then he had 3 other finals appearances where you could say he was outmatched if you wanted to argue that. And he really could have had 8 if you say he stepped up like D Wade did at this point. He could have had the 07 one if he go on his D Wade bag like D Wade did in 06 and carried. That would have been his first ring. His second ring would have been the Mavs. Third ring, OKC. Fourth ring is the Spurs if you don't get cooked by them 4-1. But clearly, I don't know. Maybe y'all couldn't just compete that year. Let's just say that year you couldn't compete. You're still around 7 years. 7, 8 rings. Like, if you're able to beat this team as well. Y'all beat them by 5. Let's look at the stats. 27 from Curry. Clay 14. Iggy with 15. David Lee with 11. LeBron with 40, shooting 41% from the field, 33 from 3. Tristan with 10. Dele Dover with 20. JR with 10. So, they stepped up. They stepped up and got it done. And he was going off. I just think it was like game 2. He had an amazing game. But the difference is he did not get over the hump in overtime. And some people would have said that wouldn't happen to Kobe. Some people would say that wouldn't happen to Jordan. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're wrong. But that's the difference. He played hella good, but it looked like it comes down to those key moments. Let's see. Let's go to game 4. Because at this point, you could have been up. Y'all could have been up 3-1 if you would have stepped up. What was that overtime game? It was a game 1? Yeah, it was game 1, I think. Overtime, right? Yeah. So if you win game 1, because you go off in overtime like you did the rest of the game, y'all up 3-0. Y'all up 3-0. So let's see what happened game 4. Being up 2-1. They tie it. Curry drops 22, shooting 47%, 57 from the 3. Iggy with 22, which is that's LeBron's guy, so it's kind of on him a little bit. Or Harrison Barnes, it could be either or, but he had 14. Draymond with 17, and then another guy with 9 and 9. With Clay had 9 as well. Let's go look at LeBron. Worst game yet. Only dropped 20. At home. You're at home, man. You're up 2-1 at home and you only dropped 20? You had a great game 1, great game 2, great game 3. Game 4, what happened? What happened? Almost had a triple-double, but you shot 31% from the field, 25% from 3. That's no bueno. Iman Shumpert didn't play good either. But Timothy Mozgov gave you 28. Dele gave you 10. Tristan gave you 12. So if you is giving you that 35-40 performance, y'all would have been in this game to arguably, like, y'all could have been up 3-1. And if you would have won game 1, y'all could have swept them niggas. Arguably. Just looking at the how close these games are. All right, he's back to his 40 performance. And that's the thing. Where was that game 4 when you could have been up 3-1? Now you back tied after you put in all that work being up 2-1. That's tough, man. So now we look. He played amazing this game. It's hard to argue. Tristan gave you 19. Iman gave you 10. JR gave you 14. So let's go look at these guys. Steph matched his energy, though. Steph had 13. Dre had 16. Clay had 12. Iggy had 14. Barbosa had 13. But at the end of the day, we're looking at points for, like, just matching points. Yeah, after JR, it falls off. So you had LeBron's 40, You had Timothy Mazdal's 19 that could match this, and then you had JR's 14. So you still got another 2 guys that average over 10 points. That's a huge thing to overcome. Center don't give you shit, but that's kind of on LeBron. Oh, he didn't even play. He didn't even play that much. So you lost your center too in this game. That's huge. Tristan Thompson had to go to center, bring JR in. And then you already lose. Kyrie already hurt. Kevin Love already hurt. I can understand this loss. But at the end of the day, man, it's tough. Because I think you could have really took this series over even before this game. Get the game 7 back at Cleveland. Steph give you 25. Iggy give you 25. And then you got 2 twos with 10. One guy with 16. Brown with 32. Didn't shoot great from 3. A little under 40%. Tristan with 15. Timothy with 17. And JR with 19. So, I mean, the team matched the energy for the most part. The team matched the energy for the most part. They just couldn't pull over. They just couldn't overcome them. Let's look at the... So, oh my God. They got cooked in the first quarter. Brown had 4, 2 for 6. Curry and Iggy was going off. But then they matched their energy in the second quarter. And they lost in 6 games too. What LeBron do in a second? LeBron went off for 11. So it's pretty much even. It's a 2-point game going into halftime. Steph was with 11. Iggy's was at 10. Tristan was at 15. I mean, LeBron was at 15. Tristan was at 11. So even with that, at halftime, it was pretty even scoring-wise. Timothy had 7. Yeah, it's pretty even. Shaq got lazy. Damn, LeBron needs proactive. That's hilarious. So if he wins it this year, will you put some respect for him being a 40-yard ring? Oh, yeah, I'll put some respect. I think that'll put him over. I think that might put him over Tim Duncan for me. It's just so tough because Tim Duncan was giving them niggas. He gave them work his whole career in his prime. Like, that's the thing why I got Tim over LeBron. Not only Tim got 5 rings, he was beating LeBron. He beat him twice, almost 3 times. And he was old as shit. So imagine how it was in his, if Tim Duncan was in his prime, like, he would have been giving LeBron fits. So I don't know. Game 7. If they do get this ring, it would be impressive though. I put him right. I think he'll be over Shaq for sure, and that's just because I don't respect the Boba ring. But he'll be at 5 rings statistically with an asterisk. But yeah, that honestly, I probably Magic might still be over him though. I'd be forgetting about Magic with 5 rings. All right, so that was halftime. Game quarter 3. Let's see what happened quarter 3. Curry had 1. Draymond had 5. Iggy had 7. Festus Ezeli had 8. So you got cooked by role players at halftime. LeBron had 7, and everybody else was just kind of subpar. What was the scoring total that quarter? You lost 28-18 to role players. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I get it. But it wasn't that, like, we talk about the Warriors are good, but it wasn't like Klay was just absolutely cooking. Klay barely played great this whole series. You had spurts from Iggy, and pretty much it was Steph's show. And I think in the third quarter, you got to go crazy. You're down 3-1. I mean, you're down, it's 3-2. You still at home. Third quarter, you got to come out cooking. You went 2 for 7, 28%. And missed 2 threes. You did get to the free throw line. And you had 2 turnovers. So it wasn't a great third quarter. Only scored 18 points. You get to the fourth. Went 5 of 12. 10 points. Missed all his threes. And JR ended up having 15 in the fourth. So it's like, you had help. Enough to win. Curry had 13. So he outscored you. The second best option was 8, and JR outscored him. Their third best option was at 3, or at 4. I seen that last minute. Timothy Miles got outscored him. So it came down to Steph Curry and a couple guys getting some trash buckets. But it wasn't just like this team was ultimately better than you. You had 12 shots. If you'd have went 50, 55%, I don't know. Maybe the game's a little bit closer. But that's that championship. So that's blemish number 4, if you ask me, for this conversation that I want to have with the GOAT conversation. The 07 is a blemish. Mavs, Spurs 4-1 loss. And then this is a blemish. It's not as bad as a blemish as those other ones, but it's still a blemish. So then we get into 2017 War. One comeback. And he played absolute bonkers. I just want to see what led to them being down 3-1. I think that's interesting. Because people talk about being one of the greatest finals wins of all time. Just want to see what led to them being down 3-1. LeBron, 20 points a game. 23 points, 42 points for the field. Kyrie outscored them technically. Kevin Love with 17. Tristan with 10. So they had 4 guys in double digits. This Warriors team was cooking. 16 from Draymond. 20 from Sean Livingston, though. So, the 2 guys y'all got cooked by were bench players, but even then, it wasn't like they went, they had extraordinary performances. Steph Curry scored 11, and Clay scored 9. And y'all lost by damn near double digits. That's tough, bro. I obviously it's the game plan and how they play versus y'all, how y'all play. But bro, if you the GOAT, I need you around 40 points, especially when you just lost to them last year. But it is what it is. He ended up winning this final, so I'm there picking. But that don't look good. They lost by 15. Then you lose by, damn it, bro. This is not that impressive. 7 of 17, 4 for 12. Kyrie only had 10. That's horrible. Kevin Love only had 5. They got D the fuck up. Draymond had 28. Curry had 18. Clay had 17. I just think these niggas thought this shit was in a bag. Draymond got hurt. Who knows how the foul calls was? Because I don't understand, bro. Okay, then you get a blowout on the Cavs way. All right, let's see what happened here. Dre with 6. Harrison with 18. Curry with 19. They just wasn't playing that great. Like I said, this team that Warriors team, they were good, bro, because of the 3-point shooting, and they can always get back in the game and shit like that. But they had a lot of flaws, bro. They had a lot of flaws. LeBron, 32 points. JR 20. Kyrie 30. So after that last game getting D'd up, they're like, we can't have it again. But this game was foreshadowing of how the rest of the series is gonna go, because them two going crazy. Yeah, like I said, that was foreshadowing. Them niggas went absolute them last 3 games. So then you lose 108-9 to 97, 11-point game. Let's just see. 25 points for LeBron, 34 from Kyrie. Both shot over. Then they had 3 other guys that shot right at 10. We go here, Curry at 38, Clay at 25. So the y'all matched each other. The top 2 scoring options on both teams matched each other. Then you had Harrison at 14, Iggy at 8, Iggy at 10, and Livingston at 8, Draymond at 9. So this is another. You just lose to role players. But if LeBron scores more than 25, if he goes to 35-40, they win that game too. So most of those games they lost, LeBron didn't play that great. So then you get the fucking epic comeback. Let's see what happened. LeBron 16 to 30, 41 points. Kyrie 41 points, fucking insane. Kyrie was carrying a couple of these games, but he had the most. He had the most points, like two out of these games so far, and then he tied them 3 games. So pretty much 3 games he was the leading scorer for the Cavs. They ain't necessarily translate the wins, but all right. Let's see what the Warriors is doing. Clay with 37, Curry with 25, and then you had Iggy. That was it though. Then they beat them by 14. Yeah, I don't know. This finals wasn't that great either. It was nothing but blowouts. I remember that. Like, I low-key didn't watch the finals until Game 7. Like, this was one of the finals I was, like, the most least interested in, to be honest. Because literally, blowout, 4-point game. It was a pretty boring series for the most part. You kind of seen how the game was going early is what I'm saying. But the overall story to the series was amazing. That's for sure. So then LeBron drops another 41. Kyrie with 23. Tristan with 15, excuse me. JR with 14. We go up here. Curry and Clay goes off. And Barbosa goes, do decent. I'm just ranting, my bad. Y'all, let me slow down. But yeah, it got away from them early. 31-11. And they make a run back in the third, but it wasn't enough. And then you go Game 7. LeBron shot 37 from the field. Kyrie shot 26. And nobody else really played that great. But the thing is, Clay and Curry both choked. And Draymond dropped 32. So it's on the Warriors just as much losing as 3-1. I can't just shit on LeBron, but this is crazy. That's crazy. 14-17 in the closeout game, and it was only a 5-point game. Like that's tough. I know the Warriors want that one back because that would have put. That had 6. That'd have been Curry what? 6th ring or 5th ring? That'd been his 5th ring if he would have won that one. All right, we about to wrap it up though. LeBron ain't been to the finals that many more times after this. Well, fortunately, just to get this video done. But let's see, 2017. What's this rosters here? All right, so this was, I think it's pretty evenly matched, but this is the year where we say KD comes and makes this team unbeatable, unplayable. Like, it's unfair. Is it? You got Kyrie at 29 points a game as a help. You got Kevin Love at 16. You got JR at 11, or pretty much 12 points a game. Let's go look at these guys up here. Overall season summary. Not season. So you got Durant at 35, Curry at 26, Clay at 16, Draymond at 11. So top 4, the biggest outlier right here is that KD had 35. Well, not really, because LeBron had 33 and Kyrie still averaged 29. So, they top 2 pretty much was break even. They top 4 they top 4 was break even exactly when you talk about points per game. So you're telling me the difference is Richard Jefferson, Tristan Thompson, Kyle Korver, Iman Shumpert versus Iggy Dawa, Sean Livingston, David West, like journeyman as well? Like it was journeyman that was the difference? Sweet. That's not good. Not even going to 7 is kind of. Wait, let's see. Maybe I'm missing something. Game 1 in Cleveland. LeBron 9 for 20, 28 points a game in that game. 8 free throws, 2 for 6 from 3. Kyrie with 24. Kevin Love with 14. Then you got other guys just throwing in. KD with 38. And Curry with 29. 28. Nobody else was over double digits. And y'all got cooked by them. So at the end of the day, KD outplayed him because Kyrie and Kevin Love matched Steph Curry. So the team was decent enough to match energy. So let's see. Quarter 1. LeBron had 13, Kyrie had 9. Steph had 10, KD had 10. And then there's miscellaneous stats from everybody else had a couple from there. 5 points. Going into quarter 2, 7-point margin in difference going into halftime. Vaughn went 2 for 3, 6 points, 2 free throws, but 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers. How many turnovers? So 7 turnovers in the first half is not good. Is that the reason y'all down 7? Maybe. I don't know. At halftime, Kyrie with 8. Let's go look down here. KD with 13. Everybody else had 2. So KD just was dogging y'all. And at the end of the day, LeBron James, that's your guy. That's your guy. You supposed to be sticking him. So halftime totals: LeBron 19, Kyrie at 17, Kevin Love at 8, Kevin Durant at 23, and Steph at 12. So as far as help, you had enough help, and y'all was still down 7.5. Y'all was just getting cooked by KD. It's insane. Quarter 3, Golden State took off on y'all. LeBron went 3 for 8, no free throws, and only seven points. Kyrie went 2 for 8. Kevin Love went 1 for 4. So the big 3 got outplayed. Steph scored 14. KD had 7. Draymond had 6. So at the end of the day, they best player or best scorer that quarter cooked y'all. You wasn't even competing with. And if you're the GOAT, I don't know. What's the excuse? Yeah, you could have had a little bit of help in that quarter, but 13, when y'all already down 7, so that took it to a 20-point game, right? Am I tripping? Something close to a 20-point game, at least. And then y'all lose this quarter by 1. You went 1 for 4, only had 2 points in the fourth quarter. And then KD had 8. Nobody else had over 5. So literally, Dante Jones had 7. Kevin Love had 4. The other couple guys got 2. Kyrie got 2. If you'd have had more than 8 points, 9 points, I don't know. Maybe even go crazy at it. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me pull out my calculator real quick. 30 plus 22 plus 20, 72 to 33 or 35 plus 33 plus 25. It was a 21-point game. And that pretty much happened in the third quarter when LeBron went 3 for 8 and 1 for 4, where he pretty much fell off on production. Kyrie did too. So I mean it wasn't just him. But that's a tough loss when really it was just KD that cooked y'all with Clay. I mean with Curry, and it wasn't too much else. It wasn't just like y'all just got bombarded with like 5 dudes scoring 30 points or 20 points. Let me look. Let me scroll up. I might have lied. KD with 33, Curry with 33, Clay with 22, Draymond with 12, Livingston and Ian Clark with both 10. Let's go up there. That's pretty tough. LeBron with 29, Kevin Love with 27, Kyrie with 19. So I mean, you got outscored by their best scorers, they top 2 scorers, just in LeBron and himself. But Kevin Love did kind of pick it up a little bit. No, I'm lying, because even they second option kills Kevin Love. Yeah, it's tough. Kyle Korver with 8. Let's look at the game, see how it played out. Another 20-point loss. Kyrie went. LeBron actually stepped up this quarter, and this was a 6-point quarter. Steph Curry ended up having 15. KD had 8. Draymond had 6. So the top scorer definitely scored more than LeBron. And the other guys, it's close. You got a guy down here with 5. You got Korver with 3. If LeBron puts up 4 to 5 more points there, it's quarter's pretty much even. All right, going to the second quarter. LeBron with 8, Kyrie with 7, Kevin Love with 6. So we go over here. KD had 7, Clay had 6, and everybody else is just average. The thing is, it's pretty much a 1-point game going into halftime. But if LeBron cooks up, a 3-point game going into halftime. But if LeBron go crazy in that second quarter when everybody else is kind of frolically around as far as the Warriors, y'all take the lead at halftime maybe with some momentum. I'm just saying maybe that's just some advice from the bench, from a fan, but just saying maybe. So looking at halftime, Kyrie with 10, LeBron with 18, and Kevin Love with 15. So we go here, look at their big 3. LeBron ended up outscoring them at half, being the highest scorer. The second leading scorer, they're even. So it's kind of on Kyrie. He didn't match the energy of the third option. But the role players is pretty even. Kyle with 6, Iman with 6, Richard with 5. So yeah, it's about even. But 3-point game, Kyrie would have scored a little more. They probably would have been up. But let's see what happened in the third quarter. There ended up being an 11-point difference in this quarter. So, Timmy definitely in top 10. He shouldn't be questioning respect both sides. That's what I'm saying. Especially when you talk about both sides of the game, you got to give Timmy his props. LeBron with 9, 3 for 5. Kevin Love with 9. Kyrie getting cooked, though. Went 1 for 5. And then Curry ended up having 12, so that's a 10-point swing. But KD only had 9. But Curry ended up leading the quarter. $35 to 24. That's tough. He had 2 guys with almost 10. Yeah, I think LeBron just has to step up in these moments where you might have to get 15 that quarter because you see Kyrie not stepping up. He only took 5 shots versus, he only took 6. You got Kevin Love taking 9. So, yeah, when you see the score is getting out of hand and y'all already down 0-1, you got to turn up a little bit if you ask me. Then we get to the fourth. At this point, it was a 3-point game. Now it's a 16-point game. So, the game pretty much over. My game 3. Want to roll me another one. I'm about to eat in a little bit, too. I got to get up off this thing. I'm hungry. So, now we go to game 3. 5-point game. Back at home. If you win this game, you make it a series because you can always get to game 4 and tie this thing up. But what happens? And I want to ask, there's 5 people in the chat. Those first 2 games, it wasn't that you think that the Warriors' talent was so much better. Do y'all think that? Do you think the production of their big 4 was just so much that they couldn't even keep up? I didn't see that. Looking at these statistics, KD and Curry had their games, but for the most part, this might be one of their best performances as a trio. 30, 30, 26, and then everybody else kind of falls off. But other than that, this has been the only game so far where you see 2 guys I guess Curry and KD both had 33, but even then, it's like I don't think. So we're saying that KD and Kyrie. KD and Curry versus LeBron and Kyrie is a mismatch because at the end of the day, you got Clay was being productive and he was matching the third and fourth guy's energy. So I'm just curious on, do we think that LeBron's the GOAT, Kyrie's not a top 10 point guard maybe of all time? Maybe he is. No, he's not top 5. It's questionable he might be top 10. He might be top 15. So a top 15 point guard of all time, arguably one of the most skilled and talented point guards of all time, with the guy that people either consider the GOAT or number 2 versus KD, top 15 player of all time, maybe top 20 player of all time, and then Curry's the second best point guard of all time, best shooter of all time. KD's a great shooter. I mean, it's close, but I don't think that's a mismatch. And then you have Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson was wildly inefficient. These series, even the series before when it lost 3-1, Klay wasn't this guy that we should look at as like undoubtable, like, man, that third option, he was really just killing. Or even when he was the second option, it wasn't that he was just this guy that was. I don't even think he was as consistent as a Kyrie Irving. When we talk about just production, like Klay, if he was off, he was off. And he wasn't going to get to the basket or anything else like that. So I don't know. It's just going back and looking at some of these finals, it's like the Splash Bros wasn't that impressive in some of these playoff performances. Maybe in a regular season, but this is a different story when you get to these finals. So let's get into this one. Game, KD had 31, Klay had 30, Steph had 26. They all shot pretty great production. Efficiently. But then Kyrie had 39. I'm a little tired. LeBron had 39, Kyrie had 38, JR had 16. So yeah, you're missing about 15 points from the big three as far as JR. But even then, you still got Klay because JR ended up getting 16, and nobody else was double digits. So you still had 16 from Klay. If you want to say the 16 and that 9, it almost matches Klay energy and what he's bringing to the table. So it was somewhat even. LeBron shot 55%. And Kyrie did too. So, it was a pretty hell of a game. Let's see how the first quarter went, because that's where they took off early. KD had 8, Klay had 16. God damn, cooking. LeBron had 16. He matched the energy. But they still end up being down 7 points that quarter, just due to other guys kind of throwing in miscellaneous buckets. Quarter 2. KD with 8, LeBron with 11, Kyrie with 11. So they kept it close. Just look at the halftime totals. KD with 16, Klay with 21, Curry with 14. LeBron had 27, Kyrie had 17. So yeah, that big three wasn't stepping. The third option wasn't being consistent in that first half, but it's still only a 5-point game. And LeBron's going pretty crazy. But then you get the quarter 3. So quarter 1 and quarter 3, the Warriors was killing them. And at a certain point, as the Cavs, you know that's they memo. As a fan, we know that, hey, when the Warriors come out of halftime, you niggas better be ready. They play like a whole different team. You gotta be ready for that, to respond to that. KD with 1. Klay with 2, Steph with 6, Dre with 6. How the fuck did they cook y'all so bad? Kyrie with 16, LeBron with 7. 2 for 7, only had 5 points. That's not good, bro. That's not good. Y'all won that quarter. I'm tripping. Y'all won that quarter, 33-22. So that pushed y'all right back in the game. It was a 7-point game, and then y'all go up 11. 5 point, y'all up 5. Y'all up 5 at home going into the fourth quarter. What do we think happens before I click on to this fourth quarter? You think LeBron went off? Because so far he's having a hell of a game. Well, we seen it. Seen it game 1. The first year that they played the Warriors. Went to OT. He had 40 points. To get to OT, only have 1 bucket. When it matters most, is LeBron stepping up when he needs to. Like, he's great. He's great in the first 3 quarters. But that's what people are saying the difference between him and Jordan, him and Kobe. Let's see. KD with 14. Clay with 7. Curry with 16. So his option got freaky. The guy that he got a stick got freaky. Kevin Durant got loose. Cooked him, right? So at least on defense, we know he didn't play as good as he could have. He got completely outplayed. He got both of them, Kyrie and LeBron. LeBron 2 for 6, 7 points. Kyrie 2 for 6, 5 points. JR 1 for 3. K Love 0 for 3. Kyle Korver 1 for 4. You got outplayed when y'all could have made it 2-1. Could have made it 2-1. Could have made it 2-1. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. Like I said, it's many scenarios where I'm looking at this fourth quarter. If this was Jordan in his prime, he's pulling this series out, or at least this game out. Let's go game 4. You win game 4. So now, you would have been tied 2-2 if LeBron and Kyrie steps up. But ultimately, it's on LeBron to step up and match KD energy and really outplay him. Because you're supposed to be this defensive guy, supposed to be extremely more athletic than KD, stronger than KD, supposed to D this nigga up and kill him and take him to the basket. But KD outplayed you. Game 5, y'all win. Or game 4, y'all win. So it could have easily been 2-2. Could have easily been 2-2. Kyrie with 40, LeBron with 31, and the other guys stepped up. But at this point, it's too fucking late. Niggas want to make another 3-1 comeback? No, it's not happening. Y'all get cooked game 7 by 9. LeBron with 41, Kyrie with 26, JR with 25. K-Love didn't play well. Tristan played okay. Let's go look here. Curry and Kyrie went crazy. I mean, Curry and Durant went crazy. And then you had Iggy off the bench giving you 20. But other than that, 11. So, I mean, let's see. Let's see what happens. First quarter, Cleveland wins. Second quarter, they get fucking cooked. They get blitzed. Absolutely blitzed. 4 for 6. Kyrie had 4, 1 for 5. That's bad. KD had 13. Curry had 8. Iggy had 8. So shit. Both the small forwards was cooking. And you still had Curry cooking. They got absolutely blitzed. Not playing enough defense. Not giving enough offense. At halftime, the score was 60-71. Still a 11-point game. LeBron with 21, Kyrie with 16, JR with 13. And at this point, they only had 2 dudes with 20. So, I mean, it's not that far off. Game was still in hand for the most part in halftime. They cut the score down to, it was 11 points, so if you up, they cut it down to a 5-point game in the third. And they just couldn't make up for it in the fourth. 14 points. So he actually stepped up. Kyrie didn't. But at this point, y'all are already down 3-1. KD had 11. Steph had 9. And that was the end of it. So I mean, you had lost 4-1 in the finals, lost 4-1 in the finals twice, got swept once, and he 4-2 against the Mavs. It's like even when you lose, you don't lose gracefully. Like you make it seem close. So that'd be the problem too. So what year this is? So 2018. And this is another year where people kind of say they had no chance. And this will be the last year I look at before I wrap this up. It's the year they said they had no chance as well. The year after this, for sure, I feel like they didn't have a chance. But this one, I don't know. Let me see. Statistically, this one, I remember this one went to overtime. But let's just look at the starters. Actually, I want to look at the whole summary of this. So Curry had 27, KD had 28, Clay had 16. Everybody else under 10. LeBron with 34, Kevin Love with 20, and everybody else under that. So you're missing about, from the big three, you're missing about 10 to 12 points difference in the big three. That's a decent margin. I don't like to ask players to have to drop 40 points, but maybe if you want to go crazy. But who knows? Because like he had 50 in this game and they still lost. And this ended up being an overtime situation. Let's see what happened in overtime. 0 for 4. And no one else really scored either. Kevin Love ain't do shit. JR didn't do shit. Clay had 6. Sean Livingston had 6. But KD only had 2. Curry didn't have nothing. Draymond didn't have shit. So even with this overtime game, they had a chance to win game 1 on the road. And this is the same OKC. I mean, this is the same team that the same Warrior team that almost lost to the Rockets. So to me, I was like, this team was a little flawed if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, we give them excuses. Let's see. This year, I mean, this game, 29, 22, 15, 11. And they got blitzed. They got blitzed the whole game. It wasn't even close, this one. Curry had 22. Durant had, oh no, I'm tripping. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Durant had 26. Curry had 33. Clay had 20. Yeah, it wasn't that close, to be honest. By halftime, what was the halftime score? 46 to 59. So it was a 13-point game. They cut it to a 10-point game in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter they cooked them. Steph Curry was 16. Both them games at home. So let's see what happened when they go home. 8-point game. KD with 43, and nobody else had over 10. That's crazy, pretty much. LeBron with 33, Kevin Love with 20, JR with 13, Rodney Hood with 15. So really, LeBron just got outplayed by KD. KD with 13, LeBron with 6. And honestly, the other, you had some guys with over 5. None of these guys was over 5. That was a 1-point game. So at halftime, they up 6, up 5. Kevin with 11, LeBron with 8, and they up 5. And then here we go, halftime. Oh no, yeah, they was up 6. I'm tripping. So KD at halftime was at 24, LeBron was at 14, but they were winning. Then they get cooked. They lose both. They lose the third and fourth quarter. Kevin Durant had 8. JaVale McGee had 8. Kevin Durant had 10. JaVale McGee had 8. LeBron had 7, 3 for 6. And you had a bunch of guys under 5. But this third quarter was the biggest difference right here. That will end up being they end up tying the game, really. They were up 6. And then going into the fourth quarter, they were down 1. So, and you gotta understand, they got swept this game. They got swept this series, but they at home. Sometimes you be down 0-2, but you go home, you win first game back at home, it's 2-1, and you gotta go get you another ugly win in game 4. So what happens in the fourth? They lose by 6. KD had 9. Curry had 7. Nobody else over 5. LeBron had 12, shooting 3 for 7. Kevin only had 1 shot. If LeBron, you the guy that's got to facilitate that. I ain't gonna lie to you. He had 2 free throws though. But when you the guy with the ball, and you got to get your second best guy more touches. I don't see how you don't. Rodney Hood had 6. But I ain't gonna lie. 1 point game, you got to go 40-point mode. Well, shit, how much he scored this game? He might have went 40, but you might have had to go for 50. Yeah, you need another 50-point game, ain't gonna lie. And it's tough, but it was an 8-point game, and going into the fourth, you was only down 1. So I know I'm asking for another, 18 points, but at the end of the day, 17 points technically. But at the end of the day, even if you scored 40, y'all lost by pretty much 6 or 7. And got outscored by 14. So yeah, third and fourth quarter, man, he had to turn it up a little bit, especially when all the heat on you. You know you gotta pull this out, so you don't get swept. And he just didn't get the job done. Game 4 really doesn't matter. You're already down 3-0. Steph with 37. LeBron with 23. And that was pretty much the end of these Cavs as we knew it. But like I said, I love LeBron, but there was a lot of flaws throughout his career and mishaps that Jordan and I even say Kobe just didn't go through as far as when it mattered the most. And a lot of those games and a lot of those series that he lost, I could argue that his team was either the favorite or not really looked at as the underdog. It might have been up in the air, but most people thought they had a good chance to win, and he ended up fumbling 6 finals appearances. It's tough. It's tough. Like I said, the 07 one, we go back and look at that wasn't a great performance from him. And if you see how D-Wade carried the year before, it don't look great on LeBron when you go add context to that 07. When you go look at the Mavs, he clearly was the third option, and that was on him just not playing good. Losing 4-1 to the Spurs after you just beat them the year before, I get it. Maybe D-Wade wasn't as great at that point, but even then, you can't lose 4-1 to a team that nobody else on the Spurs was averaging above. Nobody was averaging above 20 that year. I think the highest score was 18. So it's tough. Then you go into the first Warriors loss. I get it. It's people that's hurt, but even then, that Warriors team was flawed. And if you GOAT level, you find a way maybe to pull that out. But then, how many? I don't remember. I'll go back real quick. (2016). What was it? And they went to Game 7. So if you take it to a different level, you win this series. It wasn't that you was just 100% outmanned because Kyrie and Kevin Love was hurt. Is this the right year? Oh no, this is the year that the Warriors won. The Cavs won. So the year they lost to the Warriors, they lost 4-2. And I feel like they had multiple chances to win these games. Look at this is a blemish. So that's 4. At least 4 blemishes. 18, what the last year we just looked at, I'll give it a pass. They got swept. Well, this year, I don't know. I forget about this year. This year, I give them a pass for sure. Even though they had a chance to win game 2, it is what it is. I won't look at it as bad as a blemish, but it's still a blemish when you lose 4-0 though. That's the thing. You getting swept, and I feel like you had the chance to win some games in here. Obviously, this is the JR game, and it's tough. JR not going back up. It's crazy, but even then, you had a chance to win when you got back at home, and it just came up short. So it's a blemish. It's not as ugly as the other 4 blemishes, but you ask me. Then you lose 4-1 here. This would be 6 blemish. Like, that's a lot. Blemish, blemish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I say 5 blemishes, and I say this one isn't that bad. It's really just losing 4-1, honestly. This one here was this one's a little bad because I really do think they had the chance, but it is what it is. So really, it's 3 bad blemishes because I think after the D Wade win, you shouldn't lose. You shouldn't get swept. You really shouldn't have got swept. He could have played a lot better when they didn't get swept. Yeah, this is the worst blemish of them all, and that 4-1 is horrible as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. That 4-1 is horrible, especially after people like from in the Spurs Nation think this one was a fluke with their Ray Allen 3. So that's the difference for me, man. But like I said, I love the guy. The 50K is an accomplishment, and I think we should salute. But when people try to throw out, oh, he's the GOAT, he could be the GOAT of longevity and things like that. But you played for 20 years, 20 plus years, and you only came away with 4 championships, and 1 was a bubble ring. I'm sorry. Jordan did more and less, and I think that's when people argue quantity over quality. And people love to talk about quality, especially over the conversations I've been hearing the past year. Quality is just something you always hear. So what's the difference between LeBron and Jordan? Quality and quantity. Yes, LeBron has a quantity. He went to a lot of finals. He's been in the league a lot, so he's accomplished a lot of statistics. But what did those statistics amount to? Less rings than Jordan. And to think about it, if Jordan had the health advancements of this era, and he played, not even say he played 20 years, let's just say he ended up playing 17 years. Like, who knows where his statistics would have been. Let's say he didn't retire. Like, the nigga retired middle of his career after a three-peat. Then came back and three-peated. Maybe some people say that Rockets team still would have won, but I don't know. Who knows? So, like I said, it's a good conversation to have. But when you boil everything down and nitpick the GOAT conversation, the boy falls just a little bit short. But that's been it, man. I'm about to eat and take my ass to sleep before I get on these stocks in the morning, man. It's been fun. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shit. Maybe with my new schedule, I might start going live at this time. I see we got some viewers in this thing, man. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I'll be back pretty soon with some more lives and conversations.